Hi there, my name is Nicole Glass and I'm a photographer, videographer, and most recently a drone flying enthusiast. In November, I purchased my very first drone, a DJI Phantom 4 Pro Obsidian Edition, which I have right here, and I am absolutely in love with it. Although flying in the middle of nowhere can be a lot of fun, I also really enjoy flying my drone in cities and places where there's a lot of people. People are not always thrilled at the idea of having you fly a drone anywhere near their site, so it's good to scout out some locations where you can launch your drone without bothering anyone else. First off, it's always great to fly at sunrise because most people are naturally still asleep, aside from the occasional dog walker or two. You'll be able to get great early morning shots without bothering anybody. But if you do find yourself in a city in the middle of the daytime, here are my top 5 places from which you can launch your drone without getting on anyone's nerves. Number 1, the top of a parking garage. This is hands down my favorite place from which to launch my drone. Most parking garages fill up from the bottom first and the top level is often empty. Launching your drone from the top of a parking garage allows you to launch in peace, but there's also another benefit. Depending on the size of the parking garage, you're often really high up, allowing you to be at an altitude and keep a better signal with your drone than if you were hiding between buildings. There's nothing scarier than losing a connection with your drone, and believe me, it's happened to me a number of times. Before flying in a city, I like to check out a satellite view of the city on Google Maps to see where I can find parking garages with an open air top level. Just basically search the area, see where you can launch from, and see what you can find. Number 2, the rooftop of a building. Launching your drone from the rooftop of a building is simply amazing. Not only do you get great long distance views of your drone, but you also keep a great GPS signal with it, most of the time. If you're in a city with a lot of tall buildings, you won't be stuck between buildings as your drone navigates away from you. Secondly, you won't be bothering anyone by launching your drone near them. Unless, of course, there's other people on the rooftop. So if you have a friend with a well-positioned rooftop in the middle of a beautiful city, make sure to foster that friendship. Number 3, an empty park or field. If you don't have access to tall parking garages or friends' rooftops, an empty park or field will do just fine. I went to an empty park when I first launched my drone in San Francisco. The only people nearby were a couple of dog walkers and a few homeless people that were sleeping in the park, but overall, it was not a crowded place. And I had a wide open space from which to launch, and no one was bothered by my super loud Phantom 4 Pro. For anyone who has one, you know those things are not quiet. And number 4, an athletic court or field. Some cities have athletic courts or field for public use. You might, for example, find an empty tennis court, basketball court, or soccer field from which you can safely launch your drone. Similar to a large park, this is a great place that gives you a wide open space from which to launch your drone safely. And as long as no games are going on, you'll have plenty of space to do your thing without bothering the people walking down the streets of whatever big city you're in. Overall, what you need to keep in mind when looking for a space from which to launch your drone is finding a place that is A, big enough from which you can safely launch your drone, and B, private enough to allow you to do your thing without bothering crowds of people. But of course, many cities have restricted areas or no-fly zones, so always be sure to check the laws before launching your drone. And keep in mind that flying over people is also prohibited, so just be careful and read up on your laws. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is actually the very first YouTube video I made in which I actually feature myself. I usually prefer to hide behind the lens. It makes me a lot more comfortable, but I thought I'd give this a try. So if you like this video, please like it, share it, leave me some feedback in the comments, and thank you for watching.